Something I have been thinking about a lot lately is what makes humans different from everything else. And one of the things that I think is very profound about humans is their ability to imagine and take those imaginations and put them onto paper. Create worlds, create people, create stories, create universes, which are completely different from the world that we live in. And I think that's what's special about being able to write, being able to type. And that's one of the things that drew me to this book, Olivetti.
Olivetti by Allie Millington.
Yes. Katie, do you want to describe the cover to our audience?
Heck yeah, I do. Okay, so it's a beautiful drawing of a typewriter, and it's got flowers and plants coming out of the back where you would normally find paper being typed on. And at the bottom, it says, on the bottom of the typewriter, it says, "A boy, a typewriter, and the stories they hold."
What do you think this book's about?
A boy and his typewriter and the stories that he types on his typewriter.
No. You got the boy and the typewriter part, but
okay,
nothing else
right.
about what they do.
Okay. Flowers?
Nope.
Tell me what this book's about.
Happy to do it.
Okay.
Olivetti, I didn't know this going into it, is a brand of typewriter. And the story opens with Olivetti, the typewriter, having conscious thought.
The actual typewriter.
The actual typewriter is a human, basically, has human thoughts.
Yeah.
And the book is written from the perspective of Olivetti and also told from the perspective of a little boy.
How old is the little boy?
12.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is the same age as me.
You saw me put that together.
Yep. So this book I found really relatable, especially with the 12-year-old. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The very beginning of the book is sort of fantastical because you're...
Wait.
What?
I had the silliest question.
What?
Is this fiction?
Yes. This is not a nonfiction. It's a non-nonfiction book about a typewriter that has conscious thought. Well, it's a good question, actually. Yeah. Is it fiction? Do we know if typewriters have conscious thought?
We assume that they don't.
We assume that they don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Based on our scientific understanding of
context
consciousness.
Clues. The beginning of this book goes into Olivetti and introduces the character through Olivetti's monologuing.
Okay.
And the first couple of pages, you learn that typewriters have conscious thought. This is told from a backwards-looking context. So this is Olivetti telling a story that happened to him.
Okay.
And he hates books. Because books are so one story. But you can write infinite stories on a typewriter, which makes him superior to books. And he's so jealous of how much time humans spend with books instead of him. Because he can write infinite stories. And they're only one story.
What a really cute idea for a book.
So cute. Of course, we're reading these books by their cover, right?
Right.
I saw a typewriter. I want to read a book about a typewriter. I opened the book. It's from the perspective of a typewriter.
I had no idea based on the cover.
I had no idea either.
Yeah.
So the story progresses, and it gets dark really quick.
Oh, no.
Yeah, oh no. How dark can it get for a typewriter?
Right. Computers?
No. He talks about how his owner had gotten a laptop and, his primary spot had been taken, but his owner still strokes his keys, right? Still writes stories and journals on him or with him.
Yeah.
So he wasn't completely neglected, but he does reminisce about how when the family that he lives with, which he's lived with this family for a long time, Olivetti's, by the way, his specific model was created in 1955 or 1952.
Okay.
And so they're not the first owners of the typewriter. because the story takes place with cell phones. The
Okay.
12-year-old has a cell phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's appreciative that this family adopted him, brought him in, and he tells a really cute story about, as he's character building, right?
Yeah.
He tells a really cute story about how his owner, which is the mother character, used to start playtime with the kids by writing Once Upon a Time on him. And then the kids would shout stories.
Oh, cute.
Like fill in the blank, right? And so
Yeah.
he was part of the family. He's been displaced by laptops and computers and games, right? But the mother still takes notes on him,
Okay.
writes letters and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool, and he really appreciates that.
Yeah.
But the book, almost the second chapter, the mom, the mother character of the story, is pawning him at a pawn shop for a specific dollar amount. And he says, he's in complete denial. He says, there's no way she could just abandon me here. Right? Why? Why is she pawning me? She's going to come back later. It's fine. So he goes and he's sat on the shelf with another typewriter, a Remington. And the Remington is missing some keys. It's not as well cared for as he is.
This is giving me such like Velveteen Rabbit vibes.
Yeah. Such Velveteen Rabbit vibes. And the Remington has had a harder life and says, hey, you might as well just give up. She's never coming back. And what you find out soon is the mother has run away from the family.
Oh.
And so the story is about Olivetti the typewriter and the family trying to find the mother. So how does Olivetti interact with the family?
Right.
He was pawned.
Right.
Well, the little boy, the 12-year-old,
Yeah.
there's 3 kids. I don't remember their names. They're all common names. The mother and the father, I don't remember their names either. They're all common names. I'll just call him Joe or Jed.
That seems to be our go-to name.
Yeah. So, Jed, I should learn his name.
Yeah.
But the little boy, the protagonist boy in the story, he is distraught that his mother's run away. He doesn't understand why. Why would she run away from us? How could she do this to us? Right? The father is distraught because he doesn't know what the heck's going on. All of a sudden, he's got 3 kids he needs to take care of, and the mom is gone.
Yeah.
So it starts off with a mystery. And Olivetti is determined to help the family find the mother by replaying everything that she's ever typed.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, how does Olivetti know that the mother has run away?
He has conscious thought.
Yeah, but
She didn't come back to him at the pawn shop.
So he assumes that she ran away.
He knows what a pawn shop is.
Right.
He knows that he's been sold.
Right.
He knows that she didn't come back.
Yeah, but how does he know that she didn't go back to the family?
Oh, the boy goes to the pawn shop. The police get involved, right?
Okay.
There's an investigation. There's a little girl named Quinn. I think her only person I remember her name because she was such a cute character. Quinn knows the little boy from school and said, hey, I saw your mom in our pawn shop today.
Okay.
He's like, what do you mean you saw her in the pawn shop? So he goes to the pawn shop. The police show up, right?
Yeah.
And they find the typewriter, and the police tell them how much. It was $123 that she got for the typewriter.
Okay.
Right? And so that's where Olivetti overhears that the mother's missing.
Gotcha. Right? Okay. So he's typing out the stories.
Not yet. He only types out the story for the little boy.
Aww.
Yeah. So the little boy grabs... So there's a scene in the pawn shop where the typewriter is just clicking by itself.
Yeah.
And the little boy is just beside himself. He said, how could this be happening? He's looking for electrical wires, right?
Yeah.
Common magic electricity. You know, what's causing this? And so finally he puts a piece of paper in there, and Olivetti says, hello, my name is Olivetti. I don't mean to startle you. He's very put together, Olivetti is. Right. I don't mean to startle you, but I think I can help you find your mother. And so the little boy steals the typewriter and starts talking to the typewriter, and Quinn gets involved. Now Quinn knows that Olivetti is speaking, has conscious thought, right, can type, and Remington is appalled that Olivetti has shown the world that typewriters are actually conscious. That's against their strict principles, their strict codes, if you will. So the story progresses, And Olivetti is just spewing paper after paper in reverse of what the mother has typed on the typewriter. And Quinn and the little boy are trying to put pieces together, but just like any mystery with kids, you have the pressure of you're not home on time, you're not in school, someone saw you out, right?
Right.
So gradually, these two kids start to include adults, include the rest of the family.
Yeah.
Right? So the father learns that the typewriter is conscious and can spew data out, right, in reverse. But he can only do it once. Once Olivetti writes out what the mother has written, he can't write it again. He doesn't know about it.
Oh, it's like on paper out of his mind.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. There's a bunch of trials and tribulations throughout the story. For example, the little boy goes and returns the stolen typewriter to the pawn shop. Mm-hmm. The next day, Olivetti is purchased by an artist that takes typewriters apart.
Oh, no.
And builds humanoid structures from them. And so there's this huge dramatic scene where he ran from home. He didn't go to school. He went to the artist place and he's just sobbing, and he puts all the pieces of Olivetti back into the box and leaves and then trips and then gets concussed.
Oh,
right?
No.
And then the father shows up and he says, why did you run away? We were coming here anyway.
Oh my gosh.
To get Olivetti, right? Because they know. Right. Quinn told them.
Right.
It's a fun story. It gets emotional.
Yeah.
Because they find out through clues that the mother has cancer again. Mm. And so the family is distraught because they're like, oh, the mom ran away because she has cancer. She doesn't want to put us through that again. The last time that she had chemo was really hard for the whole family. Mm-hmm. So obviously the mom doesn't want to be around to take the kids through that all over again.
Yeah.
And so now it becomes a journey for like, where is mom? And Olivetti's helping, right? Mm-hmm. He's spewing data out of the typewriter, out of himself, I guess. They put him back together, by the way.
Yeah.
The dad puts him back together.
Gathered.
Yes. Gathered. And they decide through clues that the mother is at Cannon Beach in Oregon. And they live in like Northern California or something.
Okay.
So they all pile in the car with Olivetti and they drive up to Cannon Beach and they run on the beach and it's a dramatic scene and they find her. She's standing on this big rock that you're not supposed to touch. Not in that way. Not in that way.
Okay, good.
But more in the way that she just needed a safe place to think.
Yeah.
Right?
So as you sometimes do.
Yes. Yeah. So she gets off the rock and she cries and she says, I was going to come home, I just needed some time to think. And they all cry together, right? Mm-hmm. And then they say, we have to show you Olivetti. And she's like, my typewriter? And they walk up to the typewriter and Olivetti says, hello, I'm Olivetti, right? It's been so nice to be a part of your family.
Oh my God. Major feels in this book.
So many feels in this book. I was sobbing the last 50 chapters. I don't know.
50 chapters.
Yeah. Because they find that, afterwards, not in an epilogue or prologue. What's the one after?
Epilogue.
Epilogue. Not in an epilogue or anything, but during the story, the little boy finds out that $123 is the price of a one-way bus fare to Cannon Beach. Mm. Right? So they're like, yeah, that's it. We need to go there. So it's a really fun story. And the family, now that they know typewriters are conscious, they go and they pick up Remington from the pawn shop. They start repairing typewriters, right?
Typewriters give Remington a better life.
Yeah, so typewriters are now introduced to the world of having consciousness, and they are, Olivetti's very proud that now typewriters are adored more than books. He makes a lot of sly comments against books, which is not something that you would expect.
No, that is so cute.
Yeah.
So, where were you when you picked out this book?
Laying in bed.
Where did you... On Libby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was searching through, like, the available now audiobooks because I needed to read something, and I didn't have time to go to the bookstore.
Right.
And I saw the typewriter and I clicked on it, and then I went outside and I started building an ADA ramp for my Basset Hound puppy.
So I know that you recently bought a typewriter because you've been sending me little stories in the mail written on a typewriter.
That's correct.
Or typed on a typewriter.
Yes.
Did you buy that typewriter after
Yes.
reading this book?
Yes.
Did it inspire you to buy the typewriter?
It
Or is that
gave me-
totally unrelated?
It gave me the confidence and courage. So I have a story.
Okay.
All right. I have wanted a typewriter for a long time. If you remember, we have a family typewriter, or we have a typewriter in the family that doesn't, I don't think, work. I think it's a Royal,
Okay.
and it's at our aunt's house, and it's always sat at that table as we enter. So since I was very young, I wanted to play with a typewriter. Now, our great-grandfather had an electric typewriter. I think it was
I typed on that. I have a story I typed on that.
I think it was an IBM Selectric.
No idea what it was,
Yeah.
but I know I wrote a story.
Which is a very fascinating piece of equipment, I've learned. But I've always sort of wanted to play with a typewriter, and so I thought, what's stopping me? I'm 12 and I'm an adult. I can buy a typewriter now.
That's a great thought.
It's a great thought. So I looked up typewriters and I became more fascinated, right? And then I went to the cutest typewriter store. And in the town where I live, there are 2 typewriter stores.
And really?
Yes, there are 2. One of them is some guy collected 4,000 typewriters and he's selling them now because his wife asked him to. And the other one is originally a repair store.
Yeah.
It's called an office machine company. Like, this is a OG typewriter store.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went there. And it was, if you could step into a different time, a different dimension, an alternate universe where typewriters are still the primary way to communicate,
Yeah.
this was it.
That is so cool.
The elevator shook as we went up to the second floor. You had to call them to get in the building. It smelled like must. Mm-hmm. And you walked into there and you hear the clacking of typewriters. There's 4 people fixing typewriters all at the same time. There must have been 50 to 60 typewriters stacked on odd shelves of typewriters. Every one of them different. Different colors, different fonts.
I want to go there.
Oh, I'll take you there.
Okay.
It's a beautiful place. And my wife and I, they said, welcome in. Spend as much time as you want here. We don't close until 3, enjoy yourself, type on everything, and just have fun. That was literally what they said to us.
That is so cool.
And so I played with a bunch of typewriters, and so did she. And there was some guy that was apprenticing for how to repair typewriters, and he was telling us about the different mechanics of them. Typewriters have different buttons. They're differently placed. For example, on my typewriter, the apostrophe button is not where it should be. So when I type the word don't, it's a semicolon because that's where the apostrophe should be. But I ended up going away with a Smith Corona. And it's a cute little machine. It's brown and tan, right? Remiss of the 60s and 70s. And I have been writing on it.
Did you name your typewriter?
No.
Are you going to? Have you thought about naming your typewriter?
I have thought about naming my typewriter, but I haven't decided what to name it yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Inside the box, because it comes in a box, the case that you carry it with is the name Faye, who must have been a previous owner.
Right.
So maybe my typewriter's name is Faye.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. So I have to think about that.
Yeah.
But Olivetti, the story and everything, got me thinking about typewriters. And as you know, I hate notifications.
Yep.
With a passion. I hate them. I never answer my phone. I look at texts when I feel like it. God, why does everyone expect me to be available all the time, right? Mm-hmm. It's interruptive. It's not healthy.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Everything asks you. Like, you go on any website and they say, this is a rant. They say, enable notifications to know about price updates to your cart in the next 30 seconds. No, I don't care. I'm going to go away from the site because I'm not going to buy anything from you now. I'm going to go down to the local liquor store and buy whatever it is that I need. Yeah. Instead of shopping on your stupid website. By the way, it's the only store near me. So, and they have snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
They also have car parts and oils and groceries. So it's like a bodega it's like a bodega plus discount auto parts. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Support local. So I forgot where I was in this, but anyway, I bought a typewriter. Oh, notifications.
Notifications.
So I hate notifications so much, but this thing only has one notification. Ding! And then you slap it back to the other side, and then you type some more, and it goes ding to let you know, very cutely, that you're 3 or 4 characters away from hitting your set margin.
That's
and
so cute.
even after the ding and you get close to your margin, you can margin override with just one little click. You don't need to go in your settings or any of that shit and reconfigure your whole app. It's like, oh, I want my margin to be a little bit longer for this specific line. Okay, let me hit the margin release button and then hit the character that I want and then slap the thing back to the start of the next line.
I love this conversation so much.
I'm old.
Well, I mean, I think it's a really interesting, you're not wrong. Being interrupted all the time is not good for our brains.
No, we love it, though.
We love it. We're addicted to it, but the notification thing is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Totally absurd. And I also try to keep my phone on silent a lot because I can't handle it when it goes off.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my apps don't have notifications turned on.
Right.
So but then I get into the habit where I go in and check it too many times because the
absolutely.
notifications aren't on, so that I'm like, anything new going on that I missed? How about now? Anything new going on that I missed? And it's so unhealthy.
Send me a frickin' letter. More than a text or a call, right?
Yeah.
I can't handle it anymore. I just can't. I'm too old. I've peaked at 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty funny that, a book that I chose for our podcast where we review books is about a typewriter that hates books.
Yeah, that was super funny.
Yes.
It's so cute.
Really, really cute book.
So, what was your favorite part about this book?
How much he hates books. 100%. It was maybe 10 pages in to this book, and Olivetti says, books are awful. They're so one story. And I had to pause it because I was laughing so hard. If you were going to give typewriters a personality, mm-hmm. that's perfect. Mm-hmm. Right? Allie just nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Way to go, Allie.
Yeah. Way to go, Allie.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What was your least favorite part about this book? Do you have one?
I do have one. But it's not major. Okay. I thought the whole book was cute. It was great. It was a great story. I think the only thing that I didn't care for about this book was I thought they should have spent a little bit more time relationship building between Quinn and the little boy.
Okay.
So by the way, I loved it. Like, Allie, you did a fantastic job. 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. If I had to nitpick anything. Just because you asked. Right? This is solicited. You're asking me.
Okay.
Quinn was such a great character. But she played a little bit of a minor role. Mm-hmm. And I would have loved for her to play a major role. Just because she had such a big personality. She showed up, and the little boy, by the way, was in therapy for what happened because of his previous mom's cancer, right? Or his mom's previous cancer.
Yeah.
He wasn't speaking much, right? Just total shutdown from the trauma, right?
Yeah.
And Quinn shows up and just forcefully pulls him out of that, right?
How old is she?
Same age, 12.
Okay.
So they go to school together and stuff.
Got it.
But she dumpster dives, and he thinks that's just gross, right? He likes to sit on the roof, and what does he do on the roof? He just thinks or whatever on the roof, or reads books on the roof.
Yeah.
And she's always there now, right? She's that friend that just pops up. She's like, hey, what's up? Right? And she's full of energy, and I love it. She's such a great character, and I would have loved to see or hear or read a little bit more about her. In fact, if there was a trilogy, if there was another book... Sequel. If there was a sequel to this book, I would absolutely want it to be all about Quinn.
Okay.
Just because I feel like the story of Olivetti and the Olivetti and the little boy and the parents and the family, I think that was done. I felt really satisfied with the end of that story. Now, maybe Quinn discovers that toilets have personality or something, right?
I was trying to think of which item it would be, and I was like, what was the predecessor to the typewriter? But toilet is hilarious.
Yeah, toilet. Yeah.
My
I mean,
God.
printing press was the predecessor.
Printing press.
Yeah, because they had
Yeah.
to put all the keys in manually and then push it down.
Yeah.
And before that was the pen. But that's what got me
yeah.
really thinking about. We've been telling stories for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never heard a story from a dolphin. I don't speak dolphin, but I've never heard a story from a dolphin, right? Are they able to have that creative thought that we do as humans?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to have, in order for us to have an answer to that question, we'd have to find out that dolphins have written language.
Verbal language, too. We've been telling verbal stories since before written stories.
Right, but unless we have a translation for dolphin language, we don't know whether or not dolphins are telling stories or talking to each other about where to go to find fish.
Oh, totally. We need to go to the bottom of the ocean where dolphins live and set up the dolphin equivalent of a campfire and see what comes out of their mouths.
What does this remind me of? Oh my God. There was a book or a movie I read recently or watched recently, and there was a person who was in charge of, it might have been in Venomous Lumpsucker, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, it was maybe not, maybe a different book. Sometimes I read books with similar themes. Anyway, the lady was there to translate a whale, and they actually had software to translate
Oh, cool.
whale language.
So cool.
And the whale, I thought, was going to go extinct.
Not cool.
What's that famous lady who's in a lot of movies?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Nope, not her.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Nope, white lady.
White lady. Marilyn Monroe. Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. I'm pretty sure it was Meryl Streep.
Oh, first try.
First try. It might have been played by her. Okay, so I'm going to go after this, and I'm going to go look for it, and it may or may not exist. And so if it does exist, listener, you might find the name of it in the episode show notes, and if it doesn't exist, I'm so sorry.
It's fake.
Pretty sure that there was a movie, though, about Meryl Streep talking to a whale.
She's lying.
Was it the Alien movie?
What are you talking about?
There was an Alien movie that she was in. No, maybe that wasn't Meryl Streep.
What are you... This is like talking to myself. I love it.
That's just how my brain goes.
So now I'm imagining Meryl Streep instead of Will Smith in Mars Attacks. Where the aliens are whales instead of little green guys with brains in jars. And they're trying to translate whale into the boops from that one movie, I think it was called Evolution or something. Where the picture is a smiley face and they go boop, 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 boop.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so Meryl Streep instead of Will Smith, Mars Attacks, and they're translating whale into beep, boop, beep, boop.
Write it on your typewriter.
Huh. There's always inspiration.
That's so funny. Anyway, if it exists, I'll put it in the episode show notes.
Sweet.
Yeah. What else about this book?
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It was a short and sweet, wonderful book. It's quickly become one of my favorite books just because of how great the story is. Right? Cool. I'll think about that story every time I see a typewriter now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read it. I thought it was on my list. I don't know where it went.
It's gone.
It's gone. Thanks, Libby.
Thanks, Libby.
I'm excited to read it.
Yeah.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a great one. And I'm sure that when you read it, you'll find that I left a lot out.
Probably so.
Like I always do. So that listeners can listen to the spoilers and then read the book. And then say, Jake, you said that wrong in the comments.
That's why we do this podcast.
So that I could be corrected.
Perfect. All right. What's our next book?
Grayson.
By Lynn Cox.
Len Cox.
Cool. See you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.